of January 2026. A very good morning to you. This is a Morning Cafe. So good to have you this morning with us.
Yes, indeed, it is a Morning Cafe. We wake you up the best way we know how to. My name is Freddie Ndimuli. We have all the headlines and the big discussions today, so do stand by for a lot on this show. All
right, tuangalie magazeti. Tunasemaje leo? Tunaanza na Taifa Leo. 2027 IEBC yasota.
Utafanya kazi namna gani? Presiding over rogues, that's a standard, and talks about police bosses.
People Daily, Eye on 2027. Sijui niachia hapa.
Endelea tu, lazima breathe in.
Aya, let's start. Eye on 2027. Parties move into weekend ODM and UDA influence in key regions.
Si ushatuambia kila kitu. That's not even a headline, but anyway, ni sawa. Why US is probing this man. Do you know him? That's a Daily Nation.
The Star, DP Kindiki job at stake as UDA meets over ODM toll.
Angemalizia tu hapa lakini sawa. Either way, that's the Star. Matters business. Small investors get higher price in 110 billion shilling NCBA buyout. Interesting. Unajua NCBA ni ya nani?
Nani?
Na inanunuliwa na nani? Ngoja. All right, for State of the Nation, we'll be having these four gentlemen in studio. Wilson Sosion, Mwalimu Wilson Sosion, Professor Fred Ogola, Dr. Peter Mbaye, and MP Daniel Manduku. Starting at 6:30, they'll be helping us take a look at the big discussions on the dailies. Later on.
All right, we started this week and we were telling you this month is Cervical Cancer Awareness Month. This is the conversation we'll be having on Health Thursday today with Desire Mwandaza, a reproductive health specialist at Marie Stopes Kenya. And when you hear about Marie Stopes, umeshaisikia Marie Stopes?
Nishaiona.
Lakini ushaijua inafanya mambo gani?
Si reproductive health.
Nice. Well, tuvuke boda, tunaanza, reproductive health, lakini Marie Stopes is known for something.
Okay.
Daily Monitor, voters kick out 60% of MPs.
And this headline, I wish it was somewhere in Kenya so that watu wastuke kidogo. Come next year, wanajua, yes, more than 50% of them are going home.
Watetemeke. Attrition, nearly 6 out of every 10 members of the 11th Parliament in Uganda will not be in the next House. Having lost their seats in the elections exactly a week ago today, the ruling National Resistance Movement posted an unassailable majority after snatching parliamentary seats in opposition strongholds, including of the NUP. Now, the number of legislators in the Ugandan Parliament are 529 total. The percentage of MPs who retain their seats re-elected, that is just 41.1%. So 60% of MPs are going home. Wow. Uganda.
Interesting.
Moment of truth as voters elect mayors. So election still going on in Uganda. Election ndogo. Yeah, president last week, lakini is yet to be sworn in.
Pale chini ni bado they continue congratulating the president on his win and re-election as president for the 7th term. But what I've realized, this is something standard. Kila mtu anakuja analipia siku yake. So ule mwenye amelipia leo ni Barugahara Balam Atenyi. Is an honorable national vice chairperson of PLU. Yeye ndo ana congratulate. Na lazima congratulate the president, na congratulate mkuu wa jeshi, na congratulate mkuu wa polisi.
Usipo unaenda home.
Utaenda nyumbani.
That's the Daily Monitor.
It's the same thing pale kwenye front page ya New Vision. Huwezi lipia upande moja. It's the same person mwenye amelipia Daily Monitor, amelipia hapa. Congratulations. Hawa watu watatu. Hawa hawakuchaguliwa lakini usipowaweka utaenda nyumbani. Na sijui nyumbani wapi. But the Daily Monitor talks about, and this one is about 24 hours late. Hotspots for LC5 elections. They still talk about the mayoral elections in most of the municipalities in Uganda. So battle for Kampala Lord mayoral seat gains momentum. It's what we've seen on the front page of the Daily Monitor as well. I think they were slightly ahead. Another story, religious leaders visit Chagulani's home. But ni kama hakuwa huko, lakini walitembea. Chagulani ni Bobby Wine, bado yuko mahali ya kujulikani. Elsewhere, Parliament, artists who want seats in the House. So this trend of artists running for political seats still also present in, but anyway, hata Bobby Wine was an artist and was running for president. So it's also true in Tanzania, in Uganda. I don't know kama Tanzania tutaona Mbosso akirun for na itwaje huyu mkuu wa Wasafi? Diamond, yeah. Elections were NRM won by a landslide in northern Uganda. Apparently northern Uganda was all yellow. Huko hata ukijaribu nini hakuna. Elsewhere, low turnout as special interest groups elect leaders. Now you see, it's all about elections even on the front page of the New Vision.
Sawa sawa, tuvuke Bongo. We start off with the Citizen. Mpungwe on Tanzania's diplomatic reckoning A former diplomat and Tanzania's first High Commissioner to South Africa, Ami Mpungwe, reflects on the steps that Tanzania must take on to rebuild national unity and restore regional and international trust following the October 29, 2025 election unrest. This has refused to go away. Amesema pale, given the magnitude of the challenges, we might have benefited from beginning with quiet diplomacy among our neighbors and key allies and engaging in honest and constructive conversations about what exactly happened. All right. With our neighbors, sasa ni sisi Kenya, na Uganda, na wale wengine. Okay. Digital economy is set to inject over $1 billion into GDP by 2034. That's the story on the Business Daily, on the business page. Mtei's passage from cabinet to agriculture is another story on page 2. Tanzania, US partner in rare minerals research program, and Kule Juu, they make mention of CRDB Bank's Dubai office links East Central Africa to global capital.
Right.
Why 2026 could be a defining year for small businesses and creatives in Tanzania. That's the story on page 11.
Tukisalia kule Bongo, gazeti la Mwananchi, habari kuu pale ni mikopo kwenye simu mkombozi. Wengi waitumia kutatua matatizo mbalimbali ya kifedha, wasifia urahisi kuipata, kutowadhalilisha wakopaji, wasiolipa kibano kimya kimya. Ni zile zinaitwa mobile loans. Wanasema ati hawata wadhalilisha wakopaji. Hapa Kenya walidhalilishwa. Wakenya walidhalilishwa proper. Siku hizo wanasikianga mobile money, wanasema mobile loans wazawa
wanakuja hadi kwako.
Wanakuja hadi nyumbani.
Wanakuja hadi nyumbani, wanachukua kiti.
Aya.
TV.
I tell you. Habari nyingine hapa, wamepikwa Chadema, wanatumika serikalini. Chama hichi kinaadhimisha miaka 33. Lakini walipikwa Chadema, wanatumika serikalini. Inamaanisha walianzia kazi zao Chadema, lakini sasa ni kama tu Kenya. Unaanzia siasa zako kwenye chama cha ODM, lakini sasa unakuwa expert kwa serikali nyingine. CRDB yatanua wigo, yazindua tawi jipya Dubai. Hiyo kama mkuisikia kwa Citizen, sitawaeleza zaidi hapo. Na pale juu, thamani ya siku 34,160 za Mtei kuwa uchumi Tanzania.
All right, these are the regional dailies. I will be back to take a look at the local dailies. Tuangalie hali ya anga kunakaa vipi leo, and we start off in Narok.
Yes, and we've seen general temperatures ikipanda na kupanda na zinaendelea. In Narok today they say it's a cloudy day, 13 degrees currently, it will get as high as 28 degrees. Nairobi bado haijafika 28, tutakuwa tunaangalia. Jana kulikuwa na joto wengine, ukitoka nje unasikia wacha tu. Even in Narok this week it will get as high as 29, but then after that it will drop, but Saturday next week 30. Hata Narok is generally a cool place, but itafika 30 degrees. Tuone Turkana tuone kama sisi tunaumia na joto. Turkana wanasemaje?
26 degrees this morning, highs of 36 degrees in Turkana. Precipitation 10%, but it will increase starting on Saturday this week. 37 degrees in Turkana. 37
degrees, if you've lived in Nairobi, you cannot survive in that kind of heat.
Nachomeka
unaenda ukijimwagia maji hivi through. Elsewhere in Meru, this is the Mount Kenya region, which is usually very cool. It's a cloudy day, and this perhaps is the coolest weather forecast we'll see. 13 degrees currently. It will only get as high as 22 degrees. A bit of precipitation expected there, and even for the rest of the week. It will warm up until Sunday, highs of 24, but generally in Meru, if you're really looking for cooler temperatures, Meru is a place to go. All
right, twende Kitui. It's 19 degrees this morning, feels like it. Now it's likely to rain in Kitui today, as you can see from this projection here. Highs of 28 degrees. Precipitation, they say it's 10%. But starting tomorrow, actually, it will be 29 degrees. And by Sunday, 31 degrees. Next week, 32 degrees.
Kitui.
Yes.
Down south at the coast, Diani, it's a cloudy day as well there. A bit of precipitation expected, especially during the morning hours today. Currently, it's 25 degrees. It'll get as high as 29, which is quite comfortable for those in Diani. And this 29, 28 will keep fluctuating for the rest of this week and next week as well.
All right. Finally, the city under the sun, Nairobi, 15 degrees. Feels like it. It's a partly cloudy day today, highs of 27 degrees. Itapanda. Kwanzia kesho 28. Saturday, 29 next week, 31.
31. I'm telling you, I'm waiting for Thursday next week. Exactly a week from now, it will be at least 4 degrees hotter than today. Yesterday, ilikuwa 27, it was unbearable. Wacha ifike 31 next week. Tuone mtaenda wapi.
Saitana. 10 minutes past 6 a.m. Tuangalie Nairobi traffic, how it's looking. Yesterday deadline ya grade 10 reporting ili
but I think by now wamekuwa wachache sana. There's not much happening in and around the city. And as far as grade 10 learners going to school, hiyo ilikuwa extension. They've so far registered about 930,000 candidates. So not much in as far as traffic is concerned. Let's take a look at areas. Pale town, bado a lot of traffic there. This stretch of Makadara na kidogo pale Shauri Moyo, around Jogoo Road, around Mama Lucy Hospital, especially heading towards Ruai, there's a lot of traffic, but that is because matatu zinabeba watu. A lot of the population in Nairobi resides around this area, so pale, that's why it's busy. This area around Outer Ring Road, kuna pale further Antasia, zile ni kawaida, normal traffic. It's like we've gone back to normal traffic kabisa, na ile area nyingine usually a black spot pale, not really a black spot, but rather busy traffic situation, iko pale Pangani. The other areas around the city, nothing much to worry about. The entire stretch of Mombasa Road from the airport to the city center is green, and all the way from Kangemi down to the city center is also looking good. Ngong Road building up around Prestige Plaza. Other than that, everything else is green.
All right, let's have the quote of the day. The strongest people are not those who show strength in front of us, but those who win battles we know nothing about. Remember, every small victory is a testament to your resilience. All right, let's come back and take a look at the local dailies in depth. We start off with the gazeti ya Taifa Leo 2027 IEBC ya sota. Tume huru ya uchaguzi na mipaka, hiyo ni IEBC, imeonya kuwa pengo la shilingi bilioni 13 katika bajeti ya uchaguzi mkuu wa mwaka ujao itaathiri pakubwa maandalizi yake, kulingana na stakabadhi zilizowasilishwa katika bunge la kitaifa. Na stakabadhi bungeni zaonyesha huenda tume hiyo ikashindwa kutekeleza majukumu kuelekea kura za mwaka ujao. Mkuu wa tume hiyo amenukuliwa hapa akisema madeni haya yamekuwa yakiongezeka kwa muda na yataathiri shughuli za tume kuendesha uchaguzi mkuu wa mwaka 2027. They asked for 61 billion?
61 billion shillings.
They got 57.
But I think they can get incremental allocations with the budget this year, next year. Probably, but I don't know,
All right. That's the main story on the front page of Taifa Leo. Vidokeze zaidi, aliyezoa taka ajiunga na Alliance High. Wow, John Mwalili ajiunga na shule ya ndoto yake baada ya Taifa Leo kuangazia masaibu yake. Gazeti hii hapa. Kule juu ni siku ya 35 ya mgomo hospitalini. Wagonjwa watamauka baada ya mgomo wa madaktari kaunti ya Nairobi kuingia siku 35. And we're not even talking about this as a nation.
Zungumzia pesa za uchaguzi wa mwaka.
Priorities.
Mwaka ujao.
Masala ya spoti pia yamepewa kipaumbele hapa. Arsenal na Real moto, UEFA City ikila huu. Arsenal
walizaba jamaa wa Inter Milan pale San Siro mabao 3-1. Wengi hawajaamini. Na hawataamini.
Habari za kimataifa pia, BSJ mahututi hospitalini Uganda. Kigogo huyo wa upinzani nchini Uganda sasa anapigania maisha yake. Taifa Leo. Kuna habari nyingine hapa. Joho asaka suluhu ya madini huku chini. Anasema waziri asema atahakikisha kaunti ya Taita Taveta inanufaika kutokana na madini yake. Tukisonga mbele,
tunaangazia gazeti la The Standard. It talks about something different, and The Standard siku hizi wamekuwa wanatupeleka hivi. Leo anazungumzia presiding over rogues. Police violence in Kenya is no longer about rogue officers, it's systemic. Impunity runs deep. Leaders are puppets of the executive. Suspects in murders are openly contemptuous of the law, while junior officers unleash brutality on ordinary Kenyans. Lethal force, impunity and silence have become routine. Innocent civilians are shot, beaten or killed in custody. Investigations crawl and accountability is a distant promise. From Karatina to Mathare, Nandi Hills to Githurai, every death fuels fear and mistrust. That's the main story, and it's the only story featured on the front page today. They've given some numbers on the front page. The number of civilians who have been killed by police officers in January alone. It's only 22 days of January. 7 already have been killed by police officers. The number of deaths said to have been attributed to police through shooting of protesters or unarmed civilians is 104. And the number of youths who were killed during the anti-tax demonstrations, police often appear in the dock, but few end up in jail, but the number stands at 60. Yes. So that's a story that you can read on page 4 of the Standard. And they simply talk about how police have gone rogue and they appear not to be held accountable. Deadly act when police take law into their own hands. That's the story on page 2. There's an interesting story on page 3 about why man wants marriage papers rule invalidated. He argues that making registration of customary marriages mandatory creates a loophole. Bado kuna hiyo debate, if you get married in a customary way, are you really married? Does the law recognize it? Kuna maswala pale, kuna wale wana argue, according to the law, you still have to go and sign some papers. Yeah. All right. Maswala ya siasa pia yamepewa kipaumbele. Ruto creates campaign network as opposition seeks new alliances. On the back page, matters AFCON still continue. The champions are back home in Senegal, and they received a rapturous welcome. AFCON champions back to soothing feeling. Wamekuwa criticized sana sababu ya ile kusema wametoka kwa uwanja, lakini at least there are people who still love them. Yes, na hiyo Real Madrid, Inter Milan na Arsenal wakitandikwa proper iko kwenye kurasa za kule nyuma. That's the Standard.
All right. Tukisonga mbele, the People Daily, Eye on 2027, parties move into weaken ODM and UDA influence in key regions. Alternative voices including Mount Kenya, Northeastern, North Rift, Coast, Ukambani, Gusii, Luo Nyanza na Western. Just to mention a few, they say in Western, apart from UDA, the other parties to watch include DCP, DAP-K, as associated with Trans Nzoia Governor George Natembeya, and Ford Kenya associated with the National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula. Luo Nyanza obviously pale wanasema ni ODM. At in Luo Nyanza, the parties that are gaining momentum rather, includes Movement for Democracy and Growth associated with Ugenya MP. Kumaanisha hata ODM ijatajwa hapo in Luo Nyanza.
Tunasema parties move to weaken ODM and UDA. So these are the alternative parties in those areas.
All right, pale, all of them are here on the front page, alternative voices. Huku chini, from the ground up, how women in Lamu are stepping into leadership. That story is on page 2. And on the top strip, Mountain Revolt, how Gachagua is challenging Ruto and redrawing power. That's the People Daily.
All right. From the People Daily, we take a look at the Daily Nation. And this one has gone on a totally different tangent. No mention of local politics on the front page at all. So the big story there, it talks about this gentleman, why US is probing this man, a University of Nairobi alumnus who was born in Somalia, grew up in Kenya's Dadaab refugee camp, and later obtained United States citizenship. He's now facing a US House of Representatives probe over alleged fraud. His name is Dr. Abdullahi Ali, and he is the founder of Gateway Community Services, a healthcare firm based in the US state of Maine that was last month suspended from receiving government funding pending investigations. Hawa watu wa upande hii ni kama wameleta shida sana kule US. His businessman tried to wrestle the Jubaland presidency from Madobe in 2024. So he has political interests as well, and the story is on pages 2 and 3. He's now on the US radar. Wanasema kuna fraud. Na upande lingine ni wapi? Minnesota. Minnesota pia kuna kesi nyingi sana. Linked to people from the same region, nation, country. The other half of the front page of the Daily Nation has a very interesting photo of President William Ruto and Mohoho Kenyatta, who was a younger brother to the fourth president, Uhuru Kenyatta. Wamesalamiana pale, wanacheka sana. I'm telling politicians, you know, they have their inside jokes. And these are big families. Wanakutana, wanacheka, unashangaa watu wamecheka nini. Na vile walifanya watu wakakosana.
Wanaitana nicknames.
Alafu hapa mwandishi ameandika, great to see you. President with his predecessor's brother at State House. But the story is this. This gentleman is actually the chair of the African region and trustee of the Duke of Edinburgh International Award Foundation. That is his job. And so yesterday there was an award at State House, an award ceremony, and that's why he was there. Haikuwa mambo ingine, shika. Like, it's an interesting photo, but elewa ni nini ilikuwa inaendelea. Other stories, watch out, that casual WhatsApp chat could cost you a lot of money. Na hii ndio kitu watu wana nini, hawaelewi. You can actually make an agreement with someone on WhatsApp. Yeah? And that will also be considered legal. Usifikiria tu ati ni kutext tu ati nitakulipa tu, si nitakulipa next week Wednesday. That's an agreement. Evidence kwa kaltas. Fresh queries on customary marriage law. That story is on page 10, and I think this is one of the interesting. I think you should have one of those conversations you have. There's a lawyer who wants unregistered customary marriages to be legally recognized. It's the same story. Ile ijakuwa registered, haiko kwa karatasi, lakini watu walipeleka mbuzi, wakapeleka ile nyungu imebeba pombe, wakapeleka na wakakubalika, chukueni huyu muende na yeye. Lakini hamkuandika, hamkujaza makaratasi. Now this lawyer wants even that to be considered a marriage. No, hii si kamuiste, hii imeenda kwa familia na mkatoa dowry. But there are those who argue that it has to be registered. At least there has to be a certificate somewhere.
Well, what do you think?
Well, I don't know. I agree with him because not very many people have actually registered formally their customary marriages. Are you telling them they're not married? Some of them are very old and utaleta tu shida baadaye.
Anyway.
On the back page, and this one has moved on, it's back to local sports. We have issues to do with boxing. Wasike and Onyango East African boxing titles. Matters volleyball, journey to Olympics. Kenya's Malkia strikers on the brink. So yes, those are the stories on the Daily Nation today.
All right. The Star DP Kindiki job at stake as UDA meets over ODM talks. ODM says it won't settle for anything short of Deputy President's slot. They met yesterday, of course, ahead of that coalition pact. This story is on page 4 and 5. This
is a very interesting angle to this because yes, even as a UDA and ODM continue making plans for a grand coalition, kuna watu wanafinyika sana. Na ni wengi ni wale wako UDA wanasema tumekaa tumepigania hii serikali, we have positions here, but now with the entry of ODM it means our positions are under threat. One of them is the deputy president. Na kuna wengine sasa, in fact people like even the SG of UDA, he'll become almost a nobody once there's a coalition. There has to be another layer of officials to manage the coalition. Wengine watapotelea tu huko ndani ovyo tu fua.
Ruto Muhoho attend Gold Award presentation. That story, we've talked about it on the Daily Nation. Widowers bid to get wife's TSC cash fails. This is a story on page 10. Say the Employment and Labor Relations Court in Kisii has brought to a close a decades-old bid for posthumous pension benefits, extinguishing a claim filed on behalf of a teacher who died in 1997. WhatsApp, SMS, and verbal contracts are binding, court says. It's a serious matter.
Sasa verbal contract, watajuaje what I said? I can deny.
Na kikurecord.
Unajua hata I can promise marriage to someone verbally. Is that a contract?
Looks like something you would do.
Really?
On the top strip, Kule Juu, Radio Africa Group, USAU Africa signed strategic MOU to nurture next generation. That's a story, a special feature on page 2. El Nino coming back, global focus indicate. The last El Nino was in 1997, right?
No, there was some, but it was a milder version of it, much later than that. Yeah.
That's the Star. Fresh, independent, different. Grab a copy at 60 Kenya shillings. Kiwa Kenya.
All right. From the Star, we take a look at the Business Daily. And they talk about small investors getting higher price in 110 billion shilling NCBA buyout. If you look at the dailies huko ndani, you'll see a lot of notices by NCBA on the intention to sell part of its shares. They're selling about 66%. And there's the next page, unaona mwingine mwenye ananunua, akizungumzia intention ya kununua hizo shares. So this is called Nedbank. They're offering small shareholders 105 shillings per share, which is not bad. If you have 1,000 shares of this, you have 105,000 shillings. So small investors will get a higher buyout price of 105 shillings per share in Nedbank's bid to buy 66% stake in NCBA Group. NCBA Group has been linked to the Kenyatta family. Yes. And you remember when President William Ruto came in, and he was always saying that the previous administration had given a 15% waiver, tax waiver on this bank. And they were really against this. Yeah. Because we're saying, hiyo ni banki yako unajipatia waiver. How true it is, I don't know. But now it would appear NCBA is being sold. High net worth investors are set to get a combined price of 98, which is much less than what small shareholders will get per share in a composite cash and stock deal. Now, this is a South African bank, Nedbank, made the offer of 13.9 billion rand. It's 109.9 billion. It's 110 billion shillings.
Wow.
Yeah. To all shareholders of NCBA to buy them out on a pro rata basis, mostly using its shares to fund the transaction besides a cash component. That's very interesting there. Wakisema ni nani ana own NCBA shareholding, kuna First Chartered Securities. NK, you will not see any name kama Kenyatta on this. You will not.
Companies too.
Yeah. The other story, why billionaire Muthoka sold logistics firm for 5.2 billion shillings. Unauza tu kampuni 5.2 billion unaomoka. Yeah, that's another story there. We need a deal. On the ticker, MSMEs to be spared quarterly installments in tax reforms plan. Kenya Pipeline Company set aside 290 million shares for its employees, which is a good thing in the IPO. And 75% NSE stocks trading handled by stockbrokers staff. And that's the Business Daily.
All right.
Once again, a reminder that our panel this morning will be featuring these four gentlemen. Mwalimu Wilson Sosion, who's a veteran educator and unionist. Professor Fred Ogola, who's an expert in matters economy and governance. Dr. Peter Mbai is the Secretary Planning and Economic Affairs at the DCP. And Daniel Manduku is the MP Nyaribari Masaba constituency. Do stand by for this coming your way in a few minutes' time, starting at 6:30. At 8 a.m., we'll be switching gears.
We talk matters health, cervical cancer. What do you need to do? HPV vaccination is being championed for, but is it safe?
All right.
Some of the questions we'll be asking. This is Josiah Mwandaza, reproductive health specialist at Marie Stopes, Kenya.
All right.
Tuangalie caricature.
Okay. Wanasema nini wachoraji?
This is a cartoon on the Star. Kaineru Gaba anasema Bobby, don't whine. Usidance. Don't whine. Amemkanyaga hapo kweli kweli.
Kanyaga Bobby anajificha hadi saa hii. Kaineru Gaba, you remember the tweets he had made about killing Bobby Wine? He has deleted quite a number of those tweets. Lakini watu wamwambia nothing, you can hide nothing. Tuko na screenshots tayari. Ulisema you will kill Bobby because you've killed 22 others. That's what he said. Now he has deleted those tweets. And it's true that he keeps being portrayed here with the diapers and a pacifier like a child, because sometimes he really behaves like a brat. Some of his comments online, you would not believe that that is a chief of defense forces anywhere, even in a banana republic. Very responsible, but anyway, pole sioni nikikuja Uganda anytime soon. Anaweza ongea vibaya. All right, this is a Daily Nation and it matters education given prominence, a caricature of the CS for education, Ogamba. Finally, at least kuna mtu amemchora.
Grade 10 transition.
Amebeba megaphone hapa, lakini kuna kelele mingi, watoto wamejaa vitabu kule. Ni kama it's a bottleneck, it's a funnel. Watu wanaingilia huku ni wengi, hapa wanatoka wachache sana. Grade 10 transition. But anyway, I think they've done well. 930,000 out of 1.1 million. It means about 250,000, close to 300,000 ndo hajaingia.
That's 85%.
Which is okay. Not so bad. That's a Daily Nation. All
right, Stanos take People Daily. ODM again on the caricature. New ODM agenda imeshikwa hapa na party leader Uhuru Odinga. Lakini it's empty.
Kuna shibo katikati. Unajua kuna jamaa huwa anakaa akiambia watu hamuna agenda. Sasa cartoonist anaambia watu pia nyinyi hamuna agenda. Kitabu yenyu ya agenda inakaa hivi. You can see through you, party leader.
That's Standard's take.
Finally, the Standard, still on the AFCON tournament. International spotlight on the referees of AFCON 2025. wamewapatia red card. Performance ya referees, mulikuwa nje kabisa. That's according to the cartoonist on the Standards.
All right, now these are the stories making headlines, of course, locally and regionally as well. Lakini we already see you on social media. Admin anasema, good morning. Who is that unarusha this morning tag? Actually, good morning. Let's pick it up again. Good morning. Who is that unarausha this morning, right? Tag them and tell us where you're watching us from. Very nice. Valso Chelsea anasema, my wife Valen Wamalo akiwa Webuye, please rauka. Valen rauka, please. Ruth Karani watching from Kamae Gatingaini. Ametag marafiki zake hapa Lizel, Shushu Watwana, Tabi Peter na akatuwekea hapo GIF. Good morning. Evans Chelanga anasema, good morning my love Sharon Jepkoech at USA and my parents back there at home Elgeyo Marakwet County watching from Kenyatta University. Asante sana. Advisor Pastor Emmanuel Barasa Wasitila Bungoma Saini Kokitengela, wife Gentrix babangu Philip Mafumbo Chebukui, Mam Karoma Ikuma, Brostano Lavenda wakiwa nyumbani Sitila. Maka Fande tunakuona, unasema watching live from Ombei Kilifi School in Kisumu County.
Mo Vale, my daddy Oyori Siangara na my mom Concepta Mora na my sisters Magi, Salome, Doro, Jackmila na Maria. Amkeni mmeambiwa hivyo. Ankolino Ankoli na mrausha Betty Chalo. Betty rauka jo. Betty Chalo kama umesikia urauke. Victor Mcute anasema watching from Vihiga na Rausha sees Vutale, Doreen, Mudome na Mahasi. And finally Shix Lazy, Pipeline and Bakasi well represented TV47 Kenya. Thank you so much for watching.
Special mention to Netflix guy on X is saying good morning, so up for the show. So good to see you. Asante sana kwa kurauka.
All right, our guests are already in studio. Wanapitia magazeti. MP Daniel Manduku is already here and Professor Fred Ogola wanapitia magazeti in preparation for our discussions right after the break. Do stand by for that.
Do interact with us on our socials, TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube. On X at TV47 Digital. My handle is at @Ann_Odida. The hashtag is Morning Cafe TV47.
Feel free to tag me as well on X. My handle is at Fred Indimuli. See you after the break.
No more excuses. It's time to rise, grind, and own your mornings. Join Coach Shadrach Omer every Monday to Friday from 5:30 to 6 a.m. only on TV47. Full body workouts, zero equipment, maximum results. Start strong, stay strong. TV47 Fitness with Coach Shadrach only on TV47. Looking for the perfect way to kick off your weekend?
Pole. Hiyo ni salamu ya Mluya kabisa.
Tune in to Friday with Betty, the most exciting show on TV.
Betty, one tear gas. Betty, I don't know where this guy's going.
Walikutoka.
From the latest news and trends to unforgettable moments.
Mimi simpa. Hiyo naona nakubali.
Wewe ni simpa.
Friday with Betty is your go-to show for a fabulous Friday night.
Theological, meteorologist. What is that word, Willis?
Tune in this and every Friday at 9 p.m. and let's make your Fridays unforgettable. Only on TV47.
This is Kenya's #1 talk show, Dr. Foreke tonight. My name is the Eagle himself. Dr. Foreke is my name.
We are flipping the script, but guess what? Or should I say, guess who is taking over tonight's show?
Ani wewe furahia umekaa na kasukuni. CP unit ni Punet.
Ni Punet.
Punet.
So you guys knew about it?
Piga.
Sawa basi. Sema, hata ungevi the whole time.
I don't want to go back to brokenness.
Never.
I just love the high life. Siwezi taka kuimagine ati nimesota.
You have to watch to find out. Tune in every Wednesday from 7:30 p.m. Enjoy uninterrupted live streaming of your favorite programs on TV 47 and Radio 47 on the go with our new mobile-friendly website. Experience the future of broadcasting. Visit www.tv47.digital or scan this QR code and stream your way to endless news and entertainment. Welcome to the home of untold stories.
Next time you need fresh lemon juice, microwave a lemon for 7 to 10 seconds. Then roll the lemon back and forth under your palm on the counter. When you squeeze, you'll get more juice from the lemon with way less effort.
Start your day with Relationship Wednesday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. with Ann Odida. Dive deep into the dynamics of love, friendship, and family as we explore the stories that shape our connections. Then satisfy your appetite.
Empty classrooms, silent corridors, and idle teachers. This is the reality in several public day senior secondary schools on what should have been the final day of grade 10 admission. Kithiriti Secondary School in Mwea, Embu County has received applications for 5 students, but only 2 have reported so far.
In Shivakala village, Lurambi sub-county, a 17-year-old girl sits under a tree with her grandmother and her younger sister. Her school uniform is gone. In her arms, she holds her baby. She should be in school, but teenage pregnancy and motherhood have paused her education. Just months ago, she was a student at Eshiveye Secondary School.
Tulikuwa tukipatana Sundays kama shosha ameenda church. Sasa kabati mbaya nikapata mimba. Sasa shule venye walijua
Today, as her classmates move on to higher education, she remains at home, learning how to feed and care for her child. Her dream of becoming a teacher now competes with the daily challenges of raising a baby. The burden has shifted to her grandmother, a widow in her 60s who depend on farming for survival. She now supports 3 generations under one roof.
Najua hata nilikuwa nafikiria pengine naweza hata kuwaacha hapa mimi niende. Nitoke kwa hii poma kabisa. Kwa sababu mimi niwaachia watoto kama tutoko. Mwenyewe nimepambana, nimeingisha nursery, wamesoma ndio hawa, wameenda class 1. Tena mtoto karibu kumaliza shule na anapata mimba. Nisikia vibaya.
Not far from this home, another grandmother, Mary Ayuma, bathed her 11-month-old grandson. The child's mother, her daughter, is in Nairobi working as a domestic helper. Their 19-year-old daughter was a KCSE candidate at Eshive Secondary School just months after giving birth. She became pregnant when she was in Form 4. With no support from the child's father, she left her baby behind to seek work and provide for him.
Katoka kaenda kutafuta kazi akanikia mtoto. Mtoto alikuwa na miezi 9.
Mary Ayuma, a mother of 7, now has an extra mouth to feed. Her son, a Form 2 student expected to join Form 3, is yet to report to school.
Pesa ya kulipa hakuna, kupata hata uniform yenyewe sina.
These homes reflects a wider crisis in Kakamega County, where teenage pregnancies is cited as a leading cause of school dropouts and low transition rates among girls. For many, pregnancy interrupts learning and in some cases permanently alters education path. At Eshive Secondary School, the impact is visible. Classrooms meant for grade 10 learners are largely empty. School principal Moses Olaula says out of 90 expected students, only 5 have reported. Desks sit vacant. The school's total population now stands at 112 learners, down from 169 last year.
I had the 6 girls getting pregnant last year. And when it comes to bangs, drug abuse, the majority of those 14 who stayed away were partakers. The best student got a C.
Low grade 10 turnout has also been reported at a neighboring Esokone Secondary School, where only 8 out of expected 120 students have reported. Oleaula says the situation has forced teachers in collaboration with the local administrators to go beyond the school gates to trace learners at their homes.
Going by the history of this place, if they are left alone, they may even report in term 2 or term 3.
The challenge is not limited to girls. Some boys live in unsafe arrangements where basic needs are provided at a cost, increasing health risks and likelihood of dropping out. The school principal says 4 have returned to school following intervention.
Young boys are being kept by widows. So that actually creates a challenge because the students cannot concentrate on academics.
The academic consequences are clear. Poor performance has persisted for years, with few students progressing to university. Recent results of a mean grade of 1.9 highlights the strain caused by absenteeism, early pregnancies, and deep-rooted social challenges.
The majority of my students are products of teenage pregnancies. Then they were left with their grandmothers. So the vicious cycle will continue.
Msifanye hii kosa nilifanya kwa sababu pia mimi na regret. Hizi vitu ziko tunamtafanya.
As the grade 10 admission deadline lapses, the gap between policy and reality becomes clear, pointing out the urgent need for strong interventions before it is too late. Violet Auma, TV 47.
Yes, the deadline for senior school learners to report to their respective schools lapsed yesterday. 930,000 learners have so far joined senior school, meaning close to 200,000 others have not. According to the CS, Julius Ogamba, he says a team has been deployed to track learners who have not reported yet, and that's where we want to start. On that educational note, allow me to introduce my panelists, beginning on my extreme right, Daniel Manduku, MP Nyaribari Masaba. I think you're the only one who's not been on this panel this year. It's good to have you back on TV 47. Happy New Year, karibu sana.
Thank you, and Happy New Year to you.
Mwalimu Wilson Sosion also joins us this morning, a veteran teacher and unionist. Karibu sana, Mwalimu.
Good morning.
Professor Fred Ogola also joins us this morning. He's an economics and governance expert. It's good to have you, Prof.
Thank you for having me.
Last but not least, Dr. Peter Mbaye, the Secretary of Planning and Economic Affairs at the DCP, which is in the headlines, and he'll be telling us more about what's happening with this party.
Good morning.
Karibu sana. Let's start off with matters education, and I know this has involved everyone, including members of parliament. I know right now there's debate on whether or not CDF or NGCDF is working, what each member of parliament has done in as far as developing schools in their area. That has partly contributed to this lack of 100% transition which has been envisioned by the government, mainly because some of these people who have not been able to attend school, it's basically due to lack of finances and resources to go to school. Bwana Manduku, what is your take on this, probably from your perspective, from your own constituency, in as far as transition is concerned?
Thank you very much, Fred, and good morning, viewers. I think from the onset, let me make it clear that even as we sit here this morning, we are all beneficiaries of education in one way or another. And I believe that it is a social responsibility of every government to ensure that its learners are kept in school, whatever the circumstances. Never mind, the new transition to the competency-based education system has brought its own challenges, right from timetabling, admission, where you find, like in my constituency, you find that a learner has been admitted to a day school which is 30 kilometers away. Despite all those challenges, I think in circumstances like this, government should make a policy decision and waive all the fees in public schools, at least for now, so that we have the 200,000 learners still at home transitioning to secondary school. Thereafter, you can come to Parliament and through the Appropriation Act, make some provision to cushion the schools. Secondly, capitation should be sent to schools at a minimum of 100% at this time. The biggest challenge facing most parents is actually school fees. I come from a rural constituency, and as I say this, I know the number of applications we have for the CDF bursaries. Beyond that, I think government should now take this as a learning curve so that we don't have the same mistake happening come January next year. It is very painful when parents still stay with their children at this time at home. Most have admission letters, yes, but they cannot raise the required school fees. A simple calculation will just ensure that we just send 20 billion shillings to these schools and all the learners report to school. If I was in a position, that's what I would do for now. But more than that, I think we also need to ask ourselves, how ready were we for the new system? Because the TSC told us that they had retooled their staff in readiness for the new system. I am told that even in some of the schools, there's no learning going on because the timetables are not out, there are no textbooks, there are no adequate teachers to teach the new pathways. And so this is something that we should look at critically. And I hope that when we go to the National Assembly, we'll be able to bring a special motion to discuss this situation.
Bwana Susion, it is a valid question whether we were ready for this transition. There may have been a lot of hope that it will be 100%, but there are serious challenges, and even the CS admits that up till now, only about 40% of textbooks have been supplied to schools, meaning that there are challenges as far as timelines are concerned. Do you feel that even this admission process has been rushed, that probably it would have been extended and prolonged to allow parents to actually have their children registered?
Let me talk about admission and transition. Admission, transition, and confusion that we have is because of complete shift in admission from manual, where principals and schools select students and admit them under their terms and conditions, to ICT infrastructure, where the C1, C2, 3, C4 schools, they categorize. Students were allowed to select 3 in each, and then the rest you leave to the ICT. And I dare say all over the world, schools admit students. So you must allow schools to participate in admission. And there ought to be an integration of the ICT infrastructure, admission, and the manual process, so that then, if we're talking about the category C1, we have a meeting of principals and the product of the ICT process deployed to them, discussed, agreed, amended, corrected, and then we have the C2 categories, C3, C4, in that manner. That would have ensured that the policy is implemented seamlessly, unlike what we had, so that then parents are reacting to issues of quality in our schools. And when you look at the C4 schools, quite a number of schools, parents are shying away and they would want better schools. And that is why there's been a lot of confusion about change of schools, because parents are reacting indeed to quality. And it is not very much about the cost. It's not about the cost, it's about the quality. When we come, and that needs to be worked on, so that then if we're asking about the readiness of senior secondary for the pathways, that's a big question. Did we as a country, first of all, do a summative evaluation and of grade 9, the JS? We must have an exit report of the successes and failures and gaps. And of course, there's been preparation for senior school, the pathways. But then, are all the schools really prepared for the 3 pathways? That's a very fundamental, valid question that needs to be asked without blaming anybody. And in any case, were we really fully prepared for CBC professionally? We need to get down to the basics and facts. If we get back to my arguments in 2016, 2017, the country was not prepared. Things were hurried. You don't hurry reforms in education. You do them meticulously through evidence-based process. And the Matiangis and Magoa's dictatorship around the curriculum and shortcuts is what accumulated to all these problems, which the current administration has been trying to navigate through review. The only thing a government can do now is to review. You can't throw out a curriculum. The only thing the government can do is to make things work, which of course, that's what the government has been trying to do. In terms of funding, just to inform Mheshimiwa, Kenya as a country is now almost leading in Africa in putting funds and resources to education. We are almost at 6% of GDP, 28% of overall national budget. But the issue is accountability. Is it going to the right investment area? Are these funds that are meant to invest even in infrastructure doing that work? Is it delivering? We are talking about disbursement. We are not talking about accountability. Okay. We must see what the funds are doing for the learner in the classroom. And when you talk of the policy of non-exclusion of students, it is there in law, Basic Education Act. No child should be blocked from attending schools for lack of fees. That is the law. So all the children who have been admitted should report to the schools. Even without money? Yes. Okay. Yes. That is what the law says.
They should not allow
That is what the law says.
They should not allow
That is what the law says. So that then I'll come to you. We deal with the issues of problems. You see, the fees we are talking about are for boarding. And you look at the boarders in senior secondary, those who attend boarding in terms of population is 26%. The rest are in day schools, the so-called C4 categories. And that is where now the MPs and the leadership and communities, let me not even say government, should work on quality investment in the C4 schools. Okay. So that it meets the threshold of delivering quality education.
You wanted to add something briefly before I come to Prof.
I like what Mwalimu was saying, that he's an expert in that area, but there's something else I don't agree with. The use of chiefs and sub-chiefs to mop up our kids or our learners from home to take them to school. This is trying to militarize education. I like the idea that should be a community effort. My uncles, aunties, parents taking their learners or their children to school, not the police, chiefs and sub-chiefs.
Okay. All right. Prof, I saw you disagreeing with what Mwalimu was saying when he talked about funding. Talking about how much this government has allocated to the education sector. But it is a fact that education is the biggest spend on our national budget annually. What were you disagreeing with?
Yeah, first of all, Fred, it's amazing. You know, I've been a professor in a classroom, and I left teaching in the classroom because I think I'm transitioning to become Mwalimu wa Taifa, because there's a lot of people that needs to be really educated, even like, for example, how Sosian is speaking, because it is completely not true. Fred, facts do not lie. You know, World Bank just released a report that Kenya is number 10 among the countries with extreme poverty. Tanzania is better now than Kenya, and it's not my statistics. Why are people suffering like that? Because this government collects money but don't put money. We've been discussing with you here the difference between economic growth and economic development. And this discussion today again explains it the easiest way possible. That they are collecting more money than Uhuru's time, than Kibaki's time, than Moi's time, but we are seeing less of that money in school. Because, Fred, as an economist, if you want to understand how life goes, go to the household and look at what do families spend money on. One on food, one on education, one on healthcare, and there could be other things that they spend money on. But those are very key things. Now, if one household has no healthcare working, the same household, education is not working for them. The same household has challenges of food. That same household has unemployment. That's what the nation looks like. So, do you know why Kenya is featuring with extreme poverty? We have high income levels in Kenya. Education, you're on your own. Healthcare, you're on your own. On food, you're on your own. When there's a burial, you're on your own. So all these things together can't help you. Should the government of Kenya had just gotten right one thing, let's say education is working for all of them, then if you look, Fred, and I'm an economist, I can tell you that every household has an average of 4 kids, average in Kenya. We have 12,500,000 households in Kenya. They spend an average of 68,000 shillings per year per child. So if you have 4 children, can you imagine how your pocket looks like? I know some people spend less because some schools are cheaper, but some people spend a lot more because of their income, but those are average figures. So should you just declare that every Kenyan will have free education, then you have taken away 68,000 times 4 from each and every household. That money now can help someone in healthcare, if at all there's no healthcare, or it can help you maybe start a business. So we are looking at a government, we don't understand what's happening. And I think that I've been assuming for long that they understand, they are just not doing it.
All right.
But now I'm getting to the point they don't understand. That. Let me add to another point, Fred. I want to tell my brother, Mheshimiwa Daniel Manduku, when he says that it is a social responsibility of a government to ensure education works. It is not a social responsibility. This is a public good. Social responsibility is just something you do out of your wish, isn't it? But this is the essential work of a government, that education works. And I want to say very clearly that if you look at, Fred, just wait.
I want to give him a chance before we take a break.
No, just shortly. I'm just trying to say that now, why is this transition not happening? Look at the costs. You buy uniform, transport, boarding fees, learning materials. There are hidden costs, like I talk about free, development fees you have to pay, examination fees, activity fees. These are all compounding together that even the cost of university does not happen, the cost of education does not happen. That's what I'm trying to tell you. We need to have a government that understand how do parents spend and how can they alleviate that pain from them, rather than we are doing this. And lastly, William Ruto said when he joined government, he was going to review the CBC. I think, remember, that was in his manifesto. And they're still saying, we didn't know what was happening. They are now almost 4 years into government, and they are still saying that they are supposed to review it. Yet they said when Uhuru was implementing using, now they're blaming Matiang'i, he's blaming Wakiramagoha. Yet they said they are going to review, and the president appointed what called the Presidential Party, the Working Party on Education. They gave me a report. That report they have never implemented.
Okay.
And now they're telling us...
Dr. Mbai was actually in charge of delivery for this government.
You are actually in charge of it.
He was in charge of delivery, and now you are Secretary Planning and Economic Affairs at DCP. Where did we fail in ensuring that things work by now? Because it's been quite a long period. And what would you do different?
It's very simple. Fred, first of all, you cannot come and begin blaming the previous government over anything after 4 years. You can't. First of all, that's a failure of governance. Two, yes, we all agree there was a mistake. And I don't know why my friend Mheshimiwa Sassion keeps repeating, reminding us that CBC was not supposed to be. We cannot go back to history. It happened. Uhuru Kenyatta was the president. But when this regime came, said, instead of killing it, there was a working party to review and see the way forward. My question is, Fred, the implementation of the working party report. Because, experts sat down and it was very clear, do this and this and that. Very simple. Unfortunately, there is always a problem in implementation. I think this is down the line later. Shuffle this, shuffle the other, take this PS there, bring another one, who don't understand exactly what happens in the education system. Now, in the 4th year, going to the 5th year of this government, we are still not sure. Look at what is happening. So you're asking a question. What should have happened? This is what we are saying. As we speak today, Fred, all the kids of all the middle class and above are in school. The kids who are not in school are the people who vote for this government, who voted for this government. They're at home. Most of them, they're actually kids who are being brought up by grandmothers. The calls I've gotten from Nakuru, they are very desperate. These are grandmothers. The kids are not there. Either they moved out of the homes. They have left the grandmother. So what are we saying now? We can talk many things. Fred, by the time this exercise is over, we expect to have an audit telling us that how many kids passed by what points. Are they in the schools they were supposed to be? Right? That's very important. If you had passed to be able to be in C1, we want you to be in C1. That is the audit we are waiting for. And we are working with the education experts to tell us what are the ranks? Mm-hmm. Did they go to schools as supposed to? This issue of disadvantaging some kids, taking them to schools where yet they had passed to go to other schools. That's number one. But number two, Fred, this is what we want, because we must also act with the urgency before we talk about policy reviews. And because this government is not able to do any reviews anyway, we are going to do it ourselves next year. We have all the understanding, we know. Like I said, we went through that ministry, sat down with about 100 senior government officers, and they told us what needs to be done. Mm-hmm. Friend, if you go to your house today, there is a report on what exactly was supposed to be done for this, to fix what was not fixed. You come and tell us, Magoha, mentioning people who are even less in peace, already they passed on. Now, what do you want them to do? To reselect and do something? What am I saying? Within the next 1 or 2 weeks, Fred, we expect 100% transition. We expect, and I'm urging...
That was a promise.
That we must have it now. We are not talking about stories. And by the way, Fred, let me say this. We are asking all the kids. I don't know how, Mheshimiwa, you want community to begin tracking the kids. We want all the kids who are not going to school to report to the CDF offices immediately and camp there until they get national... education is a national government business, right? It's through the members of parliament, they're the ones who to go and let the kids come there like 100, camp there in that office of CDF, let them sort the kids, go to school 100% transition. Because their own kids are in schools. Let me tell you,
in the Muli,
Fred, I am not here myself as Mbaye because of myself. I'm a leader. And we need people who are all over in Turukana, right? In Siaya. We need people in Muranga, in Molo, in Taita Taveta. We need people who have no capacity to come and talk. So I'm asking all the kids. Let them go and camp at CDF offices until MP through the national government. Then they can look for the CS, the PS, all that, the money. They have the CDF money. They can sort the kids. Please, if you don't do that, we cannot.
Wanamanduku, you've been fighting for NGCDF. Yes, it comes with the responsibility as well.
There's a difference between the CDF office and the Ministry of Education office, or the county commissioner's office. I think Dr. Fly needs to know that.
I think his argument is on the fact that
I'm talking about oversight. By the way,
the bursary kitty under NGCDF is quite huge.
And also
that is a misconception. Let me tell you.
It's an education
issue. It's a misconception.
Briefly before
let me give you numbers, the statistics. The CDF kitty for Nyaribari Masaba this year is 65 million shillings. Bursary kitty. There's a cap. 65 million shillings. I have got 19,400 vetted applicants. Do the math. 65 million divided by 19,000 is just above 3,000 shillings. It's a transparent kitty. Even if you are to allocate fairly and equitably, no kid or no learner will get more than 5,000 shillings. Some other constituencies have opted to only give day secondary schools. If I did that, I only have 4,000 of them, maximum 7,000. Then the numbers start looking okay. Some other constituencies only opt to allocate to universities. But in Nyaribari Masaba, we allocate from day secondary, boarding secondary, tertiary institutions, TVETs, and universities. Okay. And that's why I have got 19,400 applicants who will be allocated bursary equitably.
Fred, we are missing the point. I just need some clarity. Are we taking a break so that you can come back and continue with this?
You know,
no, it cannot wait.
You know, by things that CDF is an elastic amount. CDF is not an elastic fund. Mm-hmm. The law caps it up to 40%. And simple calculation for me is 65 million shillings for this year.
All right.
I think we are
Let's take a short break. When we come back, we continue this conversation. I'll give you a chance, Mwalimu Sosion. When we come back, you're watching Morning Buffet.
No more excuses. It's time to rise, grind, and own your mornings. Join Coach Shadrach Omer every Monday to Friday from 5:30 to 6 a.m. only on TV 47. Full body workouts, zero equipment, maximum results. Start strong, stay strong. TV 47 Fitness with Coach Shadrach only on TV 47. Looking for the perfect way to kick off your weekend?
Pole. Hiyo ni salamu ya Mluya kabisa.
Tune in to Friday with Betty, the most exciting show on TV.
Betty, one tear gun. Betty, I don't know where this guy's going.
From the latest news and trends to unforgettable moments.
Ila mimi simpa. Hiyo naona nakubali.
Wewe ni simpa.
Friday with Betty is your go-to show for a fabulous Friday night.
Theological, meteorologist. What is that word, Willis?
Tune in this and every Friday at 9 p.m. and let's make your Fridays unforgettable. Only on TV 47.
All right, welcome back, and we continue with the conversation. And I wanted us to move to politics, but it would appear we still have a lot more to discuss when it comes to matters education and the transition to senior school. Bwana Sosion, you have something to say?
No, I think let's not take advantage to create confusion within the sector and promote confusion instead of bringing order. There is a law that governs education and which should actually guide the reporting and transition to schools. It's very clear that all children must report to school without any obstruction, and no child should be excluded because of fees. That is the law. So once a child is admitted, that child must report to school without any hindrance.
Okay.
Those who have reported in C4, for example, which is about 76%, are not supposed to pay anything. It is very clear. The law is clear. The directive is clear. And these speculative stories that we get around this time, we are just promoting confusion for nothing. We will be here in March, Fred, and you will not hear these stories. It will have fizzled out. Children will have reported.
I think this debate around CDF, this debate around CDF and how it can fund the sector.
You see, we cannot also use this opportunity to lynch other institutions like CDF and whatnot, as if CDF came up during this transition. It has been in existence. There's a framework in place, and I think all what we need to do is to deal with sustainable programs long term.
The question is, can it be a part of the solution to the kind of challenge
it was a part of the solution from 2003. Yes, it was a part of the solution from 2003 when it was started, CDF. It funds education majorly, particularly infrastructure, and I think Mheshimiwa should accept that then it is now time we audit what CDF has done over the years, and we should be able to account to the people of Kenya, particularly on infrastructure. What needs to be done, Fred, right now? Because we must deal with suggestions going into the future. Looking at the reaction of the public to quality aspects in some schools and concentration and massification in some. In fact, some schools might over-enroll and be over-pressured because of quote unquote, they have quality like the national schools and the rest, and the C4s remain. It is time we upgrade deliberately the infrastructure of our schools, particularly the C4, which houses the poorest of the poorest.
Isn't that where the CDF
That is where the CDF should focus on. And I think Mheshimiwa should tell us he's doing more work in infrastructure. If you do infrastructure, you'll not do the business of bursaries. I think bursaries should even be stopped within the CDF framework, so that then the constituencies can focus in upgrading schools infrastructure. Because if you upgrade the C4 to minimum status, that in a C4 school, there are decent classrooms, there are well-equipped laboratories, there are workshops, and government deploys adequate teachers, and capitation will not have all these problems. So I think it is time to rethink about the priority areas of investment in education that is going to
back to the funding model, profits, back to the funding model of education across the board.
And let me say, of course, the provincial, the Ministry of Interior has got to be involved in terms of enforcement aspects. An existence of a law that ensures that learners must go to school, and therefore, in the spirit of intergovernmental agencies, they must all work together to know where these learners are. Some could be in labor camps. Some
I want us to finish this conversation.
Sitting at home without information.
If very briefly, Prof.
If you want to finish
final word on this issue, and don't take too much time.
If you want to finish the conversation, Sosian won't help you, because he doesn't know how to finish this thing. Let me tell you, Fred. I am a Jesuit educated. We believe on going to the root cause of the problem. We are scratching the surface. What is the fundamental reason why education is not working? And you can't analyze that only by talking about education. What's the fundamental reason why public service in Kenya doesn't work? Is that the people who are trusted to make the decisions on those institutions do not consume those services. My brother here alluded something very there, but you didn't get his point. The MPs who are making decisions about how money should be spent on education, their kids don't go to public school. The entire parliament don't consume public healthcare. They're not on SHA. The executive, even the president, even the deputy president, and all the CS and ministers do not consume public services.
Okay, Prof.
The day they will be able to be on SHA and be on CDF and bursary, it will work.
All right.
So, please.
I didn't want us to spend too much time on this, Prof.
So, last point, Fred, because I'm sure you gave Sosian all the time.
No. We need to discuss something else.
Remember we're sitting.
We need to discuss something else, Prof.
I'm finishing.
Just finish.
The last thing I want to say is that I feel sad when they're telling us in March it will happen, isn't it? And even my brother is saying next year when they take over, because they believe they'll make the government, isn't it? They will make it happen. Fred, it happened before. And just go and look at the President Uhuru Kenyatta's speech on Uhuru Garden
it's Uhuru Gardens actually, the last speech on Madaraka, he said they have done 100% transition from primary to secondary to university, including TVET.
Right.
So if it happened before, why is it not happening? So what has Kenya Kwanza done to destroy what had worked before?
Okay.
And I want to end by saying, CDF, as you said, Raila told the MPs to give up CDF. And they continue citing what Raila told them, but what is so important, Raila said they are not taking concern. So let them not listen to Raila selectively.
Yes.
Let them listen to him holistically.
Raila Odinga also proposed that even education should be devolved. But final words on this.
Yeah, Fred, my final words on this. I want just to make it very clear. I actually, in my submission, I never said that CDF should sort this whole issue. I just said education is a national government function. The representatives of this are the members of parliament because it ends up in the National Assembly. I didn't say they go to the offices of the senators. I understand the devolution of the systems of governance. So what I'm saying, all these problems, for you to know where the kids are, they should go to the office of the members of parliament. Then they can know how many can I sort with the CDF. Then they go back to National Assembly, look for money, talk to the minister, so that when the minister is talking in a road here, with ACs and talking about how they have done 100% transition, the members of parliament can come and say, it's not working, it's here. Let us not hide about this thing. Right. It's a national government. Somebody has to take responsibility, Fred, for whatever is happening in this country.
All right.
Elected leaders are 6. We should know where does it rest. MP going all the way to the president, all the way to the ministry, sort the issue. Let me tell you, Fred, I don't want to hear any kid who is not in school. Yet we are being fed stories here about 100% transition. Tafadhali, mbunge itisheni kikao ya haraka, even if it's before the official, make sure all the kids are in school. How do you know it? Don't blame the chiefs. The chiefs are working under the orders of the executive.
Right. And as far as transition to senior secondary, about 930,000 learners have so far been admitted to their respective schools across the country. About 200,000 or thereabout are still at home, and that is what we're talking about. What are the challenges facing this promise of 100% transition to senior school? I want us to switch and talk about politics. And the biggest discussion this entire week has been about, and not just this entire week, I think since the beginning of this year, what's happening within ODM. Now, we do have a story on the wrangling within ODM that has been filed here by one of our reporters at T47, the factional tensions ahead of the ODM NDC that some members have demanded for. Let's watch that.
With ODM factions bracing for a showdown ahead of the much-anticipated National Delegates Convention, expected to ratify a pre-election coalition agreement with President William Ruto's UDA party delegates are piling pressure on ODM party leader Oburu Oginga to convene the NDC, a meeting that is also expected to settle the ongoing power struggle within the Orange Party.
Na kwenye hii NDC mambo itakuwa noma.
There must be an NDC that will ensure that that storm is solved.
Daktari has the full mandate of the party. Anyone who thinks they can hold parallel organs, that NDC they are calling for, we are the delegates.
Party insiders argue that despite the ODM constitution stating the NDC shall be held once every 5 years, at a time, date and venue determined by the National Executive Committee, the political will and blessing of the party's organs, together with backing from President William Ruto and Oburu Oginga, could see the convention called earlier than scheduled.
You know, these political processes, anything can happen. You know, once the processes are followed and there's support from every corner, at least for the cooperation of the arrangements between ODM and UDA, the time question is not a problem. That has not accepted.
Both ODM and UDA are now moving swiftly to fast-track the process, with UDA announcing it will hold its National Governing Council meeting on Monday next week at State House, Nairobi. President Ruto is also expected to consult ODM party leader Oburu Oginga to set a date for a joint parliamentary group meeting in coming weeks, as the two parties move closer to a formal pre-election coalition deal. Apul Kamau, TV47.
The challenge is not.
Yes, indeed. And one of the things that that NDC, a National Delegates Conference for the ODM party, is expected to address or ratify is a plan for ODM to get into a coalition with UDA ahead of the 2027 elections. And on our social media pages, that's a question we are asking today. Do you, whether or not you're a member of ODM, do you support that plan, an ODM-UDA coalition government? Yes or no? Kindly give us your opinion on that. Here we do have a member of ODM party, an elected leader on ODM, Daniel Manduku. Are you still a member of the party? And whatever has been going on, what is your feeling? Do you feel that an NDC would be the best solution to address some of the issues that have been raised, some of the challenges going forward? Because major decisions have to be made, especially after the passing on of Raila Odinga.
I think, Freddie, you're asking me a rhetorical question. You know very well that I was elected as a member for Nyaribari Masaba on the Orange Democratic Movement. You also know that I'm still a member of the Orange Democratic Movement. You also know that our party leader, the late Raila Odinga, took us to government, and I said it here before he even took us, that we were going to government. And you also know that that position has not changed. Now, will the NDC happen? It is not possible to have an NDC.
Why not?
If we had an NDC, then the Orange Party will crumble on that day. And so it is for political interests that NDC is not held until all this coalition agreement has been ratified. We don't need an NDC to ratify it. We have got other organs, party organs, that can ratify the negotiation, the ongoing negotiation with the UDA.
Don't you feel that the kind of major decisions being made currently about electing national officials, about whether or not to get into a coalition,
let me ask you, Fred,
those would disenfranchise the larger membership of the party if they're not involved?
Our party constitution allows for many other avenues. One of them is consensus. Another is the Central Management Committee can make decisions and inform the NDC when the time comes. You know, Fred, check your notes. When was the last time the ODM had an NDC? Mm-hmm. Holding an NDC at this time, when we are fractured, when we have got factional and regional competition within the party, will further fragment our party. It is not possible to hold an NDC. Theoretically, yes, but I can tell you as a politician that I would not see, or I don't see, an NDC.
It will be politically suicidal.
Of course it will be.
But there are members who are demanding for it.
Well, I was one of those members, but you know, sometimes you have to be realistic, that it's not tenable to have an NDC. The party has always run on consensus. We trust our party leaders, we trust our leaders, we trust our minority leader, we trust our SG. Let them go on and negotiate with the UDA.
All right. But Association, you've also been a member of ODM party.
Yes.
There are concerns even from the other side.
As an MP in the 12th Parliament.
Yes, when it comes to decision making, many people are questioning the structures within these parties, that although these parties are funded generally by taxpayers, the decision making is left to a few individuals. And yes, it may be within the party's constitution, but that disenfranchises or makes little meaning of being a member of a political party, that my decision, my choice of being a member of a political party will never amount to anything as long as a central management committee has made one decision or the other, or a family somewhere has made a decision.
You know, Fred, wading into the discussion of the political party, particularly we've got to give ODM space, time, and chance to get itself in order and an equilibrium post Raila Odinga. It's just the other day that the party leader died, and the members are still mourning, and there are still fundamental issues that needs to be handled. But you see, all these parties are guided by constitution. Yeah, and the next big thing for ODM and UDA is pre-election agreement for 2027. It is more important than anything else. And that pre-election agreement will be delivered, with or without the constitution of meetings of the different organs. It will be done. And as much as possible, there will be democratic consultations within the party ranks. UDA has already organized the various
how democratic? You say democratic consultations. How democratic is this?
Yeah, they are democratic. The constitution permits certain levels of decisions. It does. For example, ODM constitution, the party leader is the presidential candidate. So no other person can be a presidential candidate. That is their constitution. It says as much. The Central Management Committee of ODM, because this is a party that is within the public domain and it is funded by all of us, they have permitted the party leader, Uburu Oginga, to engage in pre-election negotiations with UDA. It is specific. It's a decision that has been taken. And the product of that process will be reported to the NDC. That is the architecture of the Constitution. And if we take time here to discuss how these constitutions operate within the different parties, we may need 360 days to do that. But the fact is, ODM has a party leader. It has responsibilities that are mandated to him by the Constitution. And in the current circumstances, he has a big assignment to engage with UDA. And UDA are already exhausting the processes to ratify engagement with ODM. And that ODM, UDA, and by coincidence, I was a member of ODM, now I'm a member of UDA. And that coalition is a reality. It will, and it's already mobilizing the rest of Kenyans. So we cannot also hold political parties hostages from taking key crucial decisions because you want to bully them using certain organs of the no, there must be leadership. At the end of the day, there is a leadership that is able to take crucial decisions and report back to the different organs.
There have been demands for an NDC by members of the ODM party. The party has gone through grassroots elections. They have delegates across the country. For political reasons, the members say it may be political suicide to go for that. But don't you think that members of ODM party, the larger membership, many people who may fund the party indirectly, may want that decision to be made by a bigger group that is already there in place?
First of all, Fred, I have to disclose that I am LDP presidential aspirant. And the structure of ODM and LDP are worlds apart. First of all, ODM is a family business. Being a family business, it means that instead of spending more time on this you're discussing about, the stability of ODM depends on the stability of that family. And if you look at the structure, Winnie is saying this, Oburu is saying that. And then there are another faction who do not want to fit with that family also are saying that. So actually there are three factions. Winnie believes that this is her father's territory. And remember that if you look from history, Raila Odinga is the one who inherited Jaramogi, not Oburu Odinga, meaning that the financial muscle of the Odinga family has been held by Raila. These people might be asking and say, excuse me, we never inherited a Jaramogi. That feud can come in. Up to the rural thrift property which are in Kisumu, this battle is going to come. It's boiling. And I can tell you, whatever you are seeing between these two factions is nothing to do with the politics. It's about wealth. Because remember that for a long time, Oburu Odinga depended directly on Raila funding him. I was running for MP of Ugenya. The campaigns of Oburu Odinga in Siaya, money was channeled not through him, but through Orengo, who was always mobilizing for him. So he was never having direct access to money. Unfortunately now, and I have some privy information, I know you asked me whether I can confirm, but I can tell you that Ruto must be financing Oburu Odinga, and he's having access to money he has never seen before. So actually he's drunk with money. And this will create a rift in ODM. Why am I trying to say so, Fred? If you ask yourself as a serious media guy, which I know you are, does Ruto want a stronger ODM or a weaker ODM? But not just ODM, don't analyze only ODM. The same too, does Ruto want a stronger DCP? Does Ruto want a stronger Wiper? Does Ruto want a stronger LDP, which is my party? No. Ruto would prefer to go to an election unopposed. So his work will be to dismantle them. So it's very easy for Ruto to put money on within the family, confuse them, confuse all the ODM guys. Like even when you hear Sifuna speaking, Sifuna for a long time has been speaking the language of Raila. Of late, he's not getting any brief from Raila unless Raila is sending dreams to him. But I don't think those dreams are Raila's dreams. It seems that he is actually speaking for somebody. You have to find that dog barking is barking for who.
All right.
So these factions in ODM are being created just to ensure ODM dies. And if ODM is not careful, they're going to die. The other point I have...
And I want to probe now what you've just said, that there are people who may benefit from a weaker ODM party,
Yes.
even in coalition
Not just
building.
weaker ODM, but
Yes.
weaker opposition
Yes.
party.
Let's focus on the ODM UDA, because, and Dr. Mbaya, I want you to come in on this.
Fred, don't cut me. There's a point I
Prof.
have.
No, Prof, because you'll make me forget about that, and I think it's an important issue about a weaker ODM and how much a weak ODM can negotiate as a coalition partner. It is on the front page of the Star, because there are people who feel that ODM coming into this coalition will disenfranchise some members of UDA. One of them is the deputy president. But if already ODM is suffering from the kind of fractures we are seeing, will they be able to demand for what they said they would demand for, going for nothing less than a running mate position?
Now, what is there is that if there will be any merger between ODM and UDA, it will be a very weakened shell of ODM. It will just be a shell just for optics that we're in a merger.
They will not be able to demand for the running
They will
mate
not
position.
be able, because President Ruto, when he got Laila, he was getting 6 million votes. Remember, he was trying to get the 6 million Azimio vote. Now, as you know, you and I know, Azimio went a long time ago with the exit of Kalonzo and all that, the Western, Kisii and all that. So now, it has been ODM because of the pockets of Akina Joho and all that, here and there, Sibarati, Mweshimua here, Kisii, a few people here and there. And of course, quite a number of MPs then. Now, also with that now, Fred, it is shrinking. Why? Because there is a very serious faction that is said to be reading the mind of Raila Odinga, led by Aida herself, Winnie Odinga, the team of Owino, Babu Owino, and of course Sifuna, James Orengo, Professor Nyang' Nyong'o. There is a team there that people believe they are following the spirit of Raila Odinga of not going into bed with William Ruto. That is what I can tell you. Now, if you want to know, look at the people who were at the Nyayo Stadium during the memorial and the burial in Bondo. Look at how Kalonzo Musyoka was celebrated, Sifuna, and the people who are said to be knowing that they are not going to go in this government. So what will happen? There's something very unique happened. They were trying to defend it. There's no way, before even we confirmed that this is Baba lying here in a casket, already calls had been made, orders had been made through State House to go and put Dr. Oburu Odinga as a party leader, even before we have confirmed that Baba has died. So why? The president has been in a hurry, and remember the words, we will not allow ODM to die. Cheragai comes and says, we are going to exit, we are going to chase Sifuna from the party, because already, according to them, it is their party. So they are controlling it. They'll be left with, the way you want to go and catch somebody, then you are just left with a shirt, with a part of the shirt. The whole body is gone. I can tell you this, what's going to happen in the few days to come. The president is so eager to have this formalized, but they are going to be left with a shell. And let me tell you something very interesting. The people who are still in ODM, led by Wanga, Dr. Oburu Odinga, of course, and a few ministers, right? Joho and others. They are there because they are saying, we cannot live out this government now because we are still eating.
Okay.
At the right time, they will lead the signs of the times. If elections are held today, Fred, 75% of the people, leave alone the leaders who are eating, The people on the ground are going to vote for the united opposition. So we have told Sifuna and Babu Owino, don't leave. Don't allow yourself to leave ODM. Remain in ODM, capture the soul of ODM, then come and join united opposition.
Bwana Manduku, you must agree that ODM right now, even from the headlines, appears to be much weakened. The debate has been reduced to a family feud, and even the people who are coming out to speak are Luo professionals, and there will be a Luo meeting of about 2,000 people just to try and resolve the issues around ODM. Don't you see that has pushed ODM into a corner within Luo Nyanza?
Fred, elections happen at a polling station. The Orange Democratic Movement currently has at least 20 officials elected in the 52,481 polling stations across the country. What am I saying? Regardless of the party feuds, regardless of leadership feuds, the mass movement is still intact. People in Coast have not left ODM. The Western Bloc has not left ODM.
Did an NDC prove that?
You see, Fred, we have a party structure that is so reliable. And that is why even the UDA is actually copying the ODM party structure of 20 elected officials per polling station. Of course, the death of our party leader caused a dent to the party and to the image. And as Mwalimu Sosiana said, we are still mourning. But we have not yet left our party. Going forward,
has your position been weakened in as far as negotiating in a coalition?
Of course, because we lost our party leader. We are not in the presidency. But that does not mean that we are not strong enough.
Don't you think then at a weaker position it's not the right time to negotiate for a coalition? That probably the party would ensure that you...
We also have timelines.
The elections, bases are in place.
The elections are 17 months away. Party nominations will be around 11 months away. So time is not on our side. You see, my friend Dr. Mbai there talks with so much authority. I know he comes from one of the small parties.
He's an official of DCP.
But the last time I checked, that party has not even set foot in my constituency. You can't win the presidency by sitting in Nairobi and having meetings in hotels or coming to the media. You must go to the polling station. And that is what ODM did, and that is what William Ruto has done. Today, these two parties have at least 20 officials per polling station. So 20 plus 20 is 40. How can you beat such a juggernaut if you are in your right thinking frame of mind?
Don't you think and don't you believe that UDA is a bigger party now than ODM? In these plans for coalition, UDA is a bigger
Going by party strength or parliamentary strength, UDA obviously is larger. They have more members than we have. But we come second. So when you add number one and number two together, that is a political vehicle that you cannot beat. And I don't know why this professor is not seeing that and the doctor is not seeing that.
Okay. There were pronouncements that ODM would be going for nothing less than the running mate position. Do you still believe they can get that?
But you see, Professor Kindiki can join ODM and still be the running mate. It's possible. What's the problem with that?
Okay, so ODM will still be going for the running mate position.
It doesn't matter. The president himself may become a member of ODM.
Okay.
Be the presidential candidate.
And he'll be the presidential candidate. In fact, we are
as far as coalition building is concerned, Bwana Sosion, it does not help to be the weaker member. When Raila Odinga joined the broad-based government, it's because the president knew that this was the only person who could help him in this. In the absence of Raila Odinga and the kind of fractures we're seeing in ODM, they are going into this coalition building process as a very weak team.
I think that is a wrong perspective to look at the coalition, because it is provocative. You are trying to tell one party that you are too weak, you are insignificant, so you are going to get nothing. You are going.
I'm asking the question.
No. And I'm answering the question. Okay. And I'm reframing it. The spirit of coalition is guided. There are guidelines, and when you talk of inclusivity, you are dealing with a group regardless of the size. Even minorities have rights. So ODM has its space and rights, and it is not a weak party, it's a large party. ODM by stature is a large party, it's the oldest actually, for that matter, within this framework. And negotiations will go on within frameworks that are extremely beneficial to the ODM and beneficial to UDA, and more importantly than the parties, beneficial to the people of Kenya. That is a vision, and that is what will guide the framework. And of course, don't forget, the foundation of all this is what has gone on over time, the broad-based government. Does ODM have ministers in government? Yes. Does it have PSS? Yes. Does it have space in government currently? It does, and it has worked. And let us not forget, if it is for election, and we came from by-elections, and let's look at parliamentary, for example. The unity of ODM and UDA delivered all the 7 parliamentary seats, 100%. 2027 election is a few months away. And what precedes the main elections are party activities, party organizations, nominations. So the parties are not going to wait for that time. There must be a framework that guides the entire coalition across board. And this is how to organize the country for the good of the country. So very organized political parties and political coalitions gives a sure future for the economic development
yet some parties,
of the country.
some parties which are considered smaller parties like LDP, the one Professor Fred Ogola is a member of, are already seeing gaps and already seeing opportunity within regions that were previously considered ODM strongholds, especially Nyanza. The number of people who've declared that they will go as independent candidates, even people who are now declaring presidential ambitions. Now in Nyanza we have yourself, Professor Fred Ogola, and the former cabinet secretary, Eliud Owalo. Doesn't that in itself speak about the strength of the ODM party, even within the Nyanza region? That previously when Raila Odinga was running for president, no one from that region would even bother to even declare their interest in the same.
I want to say that, Fred, there must be a way to distinguish ODM and Luos. And these guys are trying to think that Luos are ODM. No. Luos are Luos and ODM is ODM. We follow you as you follow Christ. When you start following the devil, I think we leave you alone. I think that's the rule, the magical rule. Mm-hmm. Even if you are my pastor, I'll follow you as you follow Christ. And the Christ left these people a long time ago. At the moment, the many ODM people were not happy with moving to government. And they are still not happy with moving to government because they are not in government. Go to Luo Nyanza. Ask the people who come from Ugunja, where Opio and I come from. Are they in government? No. Because the ones who are building affordable housing, they're not being paid. The education we have just discussed, there's nothing like those in broad-based government getting a locations education. The healthcare is a problem for everybody. People believe that the movement of Raila Odinga into government was a mistake. I told Raila Odinga, Baba, dear to me you are, but dearer is the truth, that we cannot join Kenya Kwanza government after the killings that took place, after the abduction that took place. Raila Odinga went in with a sole mandate to ensure these people are compensated. They were never compensated. The 10-point agenda was never implemented. The national accord that made people, the NADCO that made people leave the street was never implemented. So with all that, the kind of sins that has been committed with this kind of union, God has no blessing on this one. So he talks about LDP. Fred, I can't disclose in public, but I can tell you the number of people resigning from ODM, I have them evidence here, joining LDP, even one including somebody who was the chairperson of a county for ODM, joined LDP, of the whole county. Actually 3 counties now. I was in Mombasa. Do you know how many people entering there? You talk about polling station. I was even in Marekebuni polling station in Kilifi in Magarini. I can tell you, Jilore Ward, they are joining LDP in a high rate. I can tell you there are 3 sitting members of parliament from Luo Nyanza who are in talks with LDP. They have joined LDP, officially resigned from ODM, and they told me they are life members of ODM just like I am. Fred, let us not think that this thing is magic. Fred Ogola was on TV every day fighting for ODM, isn't it? He wants to do it that in 2027 because ODM has gone away I don't want. So you think that's not a loss? How many do you know who came here? Even Mheshimiwa, you're not here when you are fighting for Raila on TV here every day. Sometimes we used to be blocked even from the parking when you are being chased by some people who are enemies. I lost my job because of fighting for ODM. How many people lose their jobs for that? And I'm not losing my job, then again starting for UDA, which made me lose my job.
Okay.
So Fred, let's not just make noise here. Then I want to tell you something. Talk about the strength of the party. It's not just about the numbers of MPs. It's money. As I speak, if you go to RPP, UDA receives over 560 million shillings from RPP in political parties fund. ODM receives 380 million shillings in fund. Meaning together, they're almost receiving 1 billion. Now, that's also a financial strength, isn't it? Now, the problem that, for example, DCP, I don't know, you receive nothing, isn't it? LDP don't receive anything. Wiper receives around 50 million, for example, I think 100 million. You go to the DAP Kenya. So if you look at the combined money received by other parties apart from these two, they don't even get half of what these people are getting. Mm-hmm. So, of course, they have a financial muscle, isn't it? How will they use that? So these are some of the challenges that we are also facing. But I want to end by saying the issue of what is killing ODM now is that all the people who are leading ODM right from the top, they do not know what competitive politics is. Because why? Most of those people became MPs, became senators and governors by their hands being held by Raila. They never fought for themselves. I can tell you, Fred, some of them, their manifesto were only 2 things. Hapa ni Raila Amolo Odinga. Hapa ni ODM. Their manifesto people never knew. Mm-hmm. Go to Mombasa. Joho was only saying, sisi tuko na Baba Raila Amolo Odinga. Na hapa Mombasa ni ODM, and they became governor, isn't it? Now, will you say that in 2027 to become a governor? Mm-hmm. So some of them making noise here about they are going to lose this election. And for LDP managed by technocrats, Fred, that's the beauty of it. The structure of LDP is so beautiful that no one owns a party. It is not somebody's held in somebody's bedroom. It's not run by tumbocrats. Okay. It's run by technocrats. And for that matter, it's a party of the people. That's why if ODM think they are very strong, mm-hmm. let them call for NDC. Remember, in ODM at 20, there was supposed to be an NDC, and the party advised against it, it will bring them down. And I'm happy with you said the same. Should ODM host an NDC now, it will be an end of an era.
All right. And Bwana Manduku spoke to that. But I want to invite you, Dr. Mbaya, to look, even as you consider the strengths of parties going forward, because it's only it's about 19 months to elections. And now we're looking at a weakening ODM, at least in as far as perception is concerned, and there's an admission that yes, there's a problem here. But on the other hand, you look at UDA, which has also conducted grassroots elections, and it would appear that UDA is growing in strength. Recently, we saw President William Ruto come back to the Mount Kenya region. He traveled to Nyeri twice in 1 week. And people are saying, yes, he's reintroduced the battle or the scramble for the mountain. So even as ODM and other parties struggle in as far as strength is concerned, the UDA party, especially given the fact that they've carried out their grassroots elections, appears to be growing in strength. Do you agree that that is a reality and that the president has reignited the scramble for the mountain?
So what has happened in a nutshell, let me say this in a nutshell. So what will happen, first of all, 1 minute for ODM. ODM will either, the faction with the people, led by Winnie, Aida, and other team I've mentioned, they'll fight for the control of the party and win it. Once they got the control, they will join the united opposition because the people, 75% are the united opposition.
Oh, you anticipate that?
Yes, yes, I can tell you. That one I can tell you. I mean, I went to school to study political science, really. Secondly, if they don't, for some reason, because the state is involved, they can manipulate another, the state will go with a shell called ODM. The people will go to another party. Let me tell you today, the 9 out of 11 MPs voted on ODM in Kakamega County will not defend on ODM if it is captured by the state. If it is owned and the Sifuna team manages to get ODM, then the party will continue. But I can tell you this, if the people perceive that the President Ruto is so keen on steering the ODM, they will go to another party. Right. I can tell you, Mheshimiwa here, of course he cannot speak here because, it's too early, and of course the people in the broad base, they are being watched every day, their phones are being tapped, they know who are you talking to. So true. I can tell you, Mheshimiwa here will not defend on ODM. Seated here. Come August, they'll begin looking for another party. Of course, we had hoped Matiang'i would go there and try to get the people there and go to the grassroots, but he's hanging somewhere through Jubilee. Now, the other issue is going to UDA. Fred, mark my words, today seated here. And let me talk, for example, on the issue of the many parts of Mount Kenya. UDA died long time ago. Oh, no. Actually, let me tell you this. Everybody to be elected were given 2,000 shillings. The 20 people you're talking about. It was cash. People, I mean, we are here, we have phone calls. These are people that we pushed into government, we found in UDA. They were being...
Yet we saw the actions by the president even prompt you to go for a meeting in Mombasa just at the weekend. Are you saying that whatever UDA has done over the past few weeks in Mount Kenya region has not moved you in any way?
Can I tell you, the plan was long time ago that after the holidays, people would meet in Mombasa to plan for the year. So I'll tell you this. President Ruto used to come to Mount Kenya, being weighted from 10 up to 5. Love, pure love. No single shilling was being used to mobilize. No single shilling was used for President Ruto to be elected in Mount Kenya. Whatever he does today, anywhere you see 100 people, they have been paid handsomely. So he is trying to buy loyalty, which is not possible. Let me tell you something. For every person out of the 20, they were paid 2,000 shillings. We know because they used to call us. Now listen. And they would tell us, well, we have been asked to come and be jail. Let's just join the whatever because of the money. So I can tell you, you cannot buy love. The president has discovered, look at the speech. He began by saying, yani mimi naeza kuacha. Already that is painful speech. He could sense the pain. He can't see the love. He can't see whatever happened. Because I can tell you, Mount Kenya people don't go for Madamano. And you never see what they're thinking. They make a decision, they wait for the election day. Mark my words. Right. Nobody is shaking about UDA. We are seated with you here. We have about in Mount Kenya region about 10, 11 governors, senators, women reps, MPs, and all that. 95% will be on DCP. That one I can tell you today. UDA is not anywhere. You are not going to see anywhere UDA in the markings. And of course, maybe Rift Valley. Well, maybe Rift Valley, you are going to have a few governors there, a few senators there. But in terms of the numbers, we are not going. Because UDA is just trying to resurrect itself.
I want to give each one of you an opportunity to comment on this issue, Bwana Manduku, because we've seen even not just in the mountain, and you'll comment on that as well, that even in Western Kenya region, where ODM had a strong grounding, that even when it came to the by-elections that passed in November last year, ODM gave up any interest in Western Kenya to UDA, meaning that UDA is growing in strength in areas where other parties were stronger. Do you admit that, yes, as we continue to get closer to the elections, UDA is becoming a stronger party?
Fred, I want to repeat again that apart from my party, the Orange Democratic Movement, the only other party that has presence in all the 52,000 plus polling stations in this country is the UDA, United Democratic Alliance. And so I'm restating the obvious, that the UDA is becoming strong and stronger.
As ODM weakens.
In fact, if you look at the dailies today, the party leader, who is the president, is hosting all the aspirants next week. What does that tell you? He's preparing for battle royale. He's aware that he's got a battle that he must win. And he's using everything at his disposal to ensure that UDA becomes even stronger. As to whether ODM is becoming weak or not, that is not for me to answer.
You are a member of ODM.
I told you very well that we are still mourning the death of BAMBA.
Okay.
And our absence in the November elections, coming just a month after his death, could have been as a result of the shock that we had as a party. But don't forget that we are in partnership with UDA. So if one becomes stronger, the other need not become weaker, because we are one and the same thing now. Don't you live in this country, Fred?
We've seen previously that UDA got into a partnership with ANC, and now ANC is non-existent.
Well, ANC was a small party with 4 or 5 members of parliament. You can't compare the ANC with the ODM. We're in this partnership not as equal partners, but as important and strategic partners. We are negotiating from a position of strength for an alliance to go into the 2027 elections. And I'm telling you,
who is your party leader?
We are going to get 80% of the votes. I'm telling you that.
As a coalition?
As a coalition.
Okay, okay. Bwana Sosion, in as far as party strength is concerned, the president has always wanted a huge monolithic party. In fact, the equivalent of what, in comparison probably to the China's Communist Party. Do you think he's right on his way to achieving that?
Yes, indeed, even with a coalition. The coalition
eventually swallow them and become one big party?
Even with the coalition, it's going to be a massive political movement. And while the coalition will be a massive political movement, and I would like to remind Mbai, if you are talking about the mountain, the test of the mountain in terms of UDA's strength was in Berry.
Oh no, don't go there.
And,
don't go there. Mwalimu, you
that's
are
a fact.
Mwalimu, you are a professional.
UDA,
the last time we checked, Mwalimu,
let's just allow him.
Checked, you are
Dr. Mbai.
UDA,
Mwalimu, you see,
you have talked
Dr.
with
Mbai.
don't lie.
Don't
let's allow Mwalimu
Don't
continue.
lie.
Don't go there.
UDA won Berry constituency, and that is in the mountain. And we have seen grassroots elections for UDA conducted across all the polling stations in Mount Kenya. That's a fact. You are a credible media. You saw it. And you've seen activities of UDA lined up. Meeting of all elected leaders, governors, senators, members of parliament, MCAs, with the party leader. That is organizing. You know, the president is a maverick organizer and a very good director for that matter. And he knows that a political party does not exist in the ivory towers. A very strong political party must go to the grassroots. And that is why these organized meetings are important to strengthen the organizing power of UDA. There will be a meeting for all aspirants for 2027, so that.
And after all this happens, do you think this party will
outlive
the president?
And when you look at Malaba, for example,
do you think this party, after all this success, once President William Ruto leaves, because we've seen this happen with all parties, once the leader leaves office, that's the death of the party. With all this strength that it's building, do you think this one will outlive the president?
No, the focus here, if you look at the architecture of ODM and UDA social parties, of course, they have been led by very strong leaders, one Raila Odinga.
And we can see what's happening to ODM now.
William Ruto, and with the coalition, so they will still remain within that space. But I think what is important, when you look at what the president is doing, conducting activities in all the polling stations. No. Conducting activities in all the polling stations is decentralizing activities from an individual to the people.
Okay.
So it becomes the people's
Final
party.
word on this, Professor, as we wrap up. On the strength of UDA. We're talking about building strength and sustaining such political parties.
Well,
UDA appears to be stronger and growing stronger by the day.
Well, as a member of LDP and a presidential aspirant, it will be bad for me
to admit that.
To talk about the strength of UDA, because for me, the strength is not
in
just...
that way you have admitted.
Say whatever you want to say, Sassion. Be disciplined. I think class teachers used to tell us to wait for the teacher to talk.
We're out of time, Professor.
So I want to say that the most important thing here is that the strength is the strength into ideology, what they want to do for people of Kenya. Because when you look at the youth, they're not looking at the strength of UDA in terms of how many MPs they have, how much money they receive, how much grants have they mobilized. Because democracy is not just the right to vote, it's the right to offer services to people. Is the merger, is the strength of UDA good for Kenya in terms of public service, in terms of economic liberation? No. The stronger UDA is, the more nothing will get. The more injustice we see, because when they are strong, you saw how many people have been killed. When they were strong, you saw how many people have lost lives, abductions, you've seen corruption. So when ODM and UDA comes together, are they creating a bigger mongrel that are going to ensure that Kenyans cannot get their rights? I would like parties like LDP to emerge, which have ideologies, which are people-driven, that can offer healthcare for free, can offer education for free. We have a prototype, not manifestos. I told you, a prototype, mfano of what we want to do, like a symbol of what we want to do. We are very clear about how we can ensure that education does not suffer, healthcare does not suffer. So for me, when the devil gets stronger, when the kingdom of the devil gets stronger, the heaven is not happy.
Okay.
So according to me, these are demons. These are parties which cannot offer any goodness to Kenya.
We
and
only have
the
a few
stronger they
seconds.
are, the worse, because they have demonstrated. They are affordable housing. They are talking about 344,000 jobs. They are not there. They are talking about the Nyota program. They are telling us they have created businesses in all counties. They are not there.
Let me
they
give
are based on lies
Dr.
and
Mboy
propaganda.
30 seconds for your final words. 30 seconds. only.
I'll say this. I'll say this. First of all, it's very unfortunate that the government stole elections in Bere and Marava just so that it can be ringing in our minds, keep on reminding us how strong they are. When everybody knows that they stole, just violence, nobody with violence. I don't want to talk much about Bere because there are two cases, very strong cases in court. Let's do it for it. But I can tell you this. That theft, Fred, made people so angry, so mad. Today, I can tell you this, UDA cannot get any seat on that association in Western. People are angry with the president and also Mount Kenya. They are bidding for their time. I'll tell you this. Where we are going to happen, UDA, we are going to have a lot of it in Rift Valley. I can tell you in Joho, Sibalati, Western, and all these are presidents, they will not vie on ODM. They will look for other parties because they want to see the future.
Okay.
That's what the future is going to go by.
Thank
it's
you,
very
Dr.
simple.
Mboy.
We are not going to go that direction. We don't want all those other stories going around here. It will not work any other way.
All right. Bwana Manduko, 30 seconds only. Parting shot.
Well, my parting shot is that I wish Kenyans a better year, 2026, a year where we hope to have great transformation. I urge all parents to kindly take their grade 9 learners to schools.
Grade 10 and 9.
Grade 10 and 9, so that they can begin their learning as we sort out the current challenges that are in the sector.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bwana Sosion. I don't want to give you an opportunity. You and Professor might take too long, but thank you so much for being here.
But there's something Moshimua said.
No, I don't want to reintroduce
Fred, I'm not introducing.
Well. No. The question I'd asked sorry, Dr. Mbaye, we had asked on our social media pages, do you support an ODM UDA coalition government? Yes or no? What are the results? Yes, on your screen, yes, 56%, no, 44%. Thank you so much for being part of that. Yes, Gladstone Madine says for ODM survival and relevance, post Baba's death, they will surely be stronger in government than outside as long as they don't fold. Matthew Samuel says, they said long live the crown, but Baba went with ODM, unless otherwise, but less fresh blood. Like Edwin Sifuna and Babu Owino take charge of the party. That's a big discussion, ODM. Thank you so much, Dr. Peter Mbaye, Secretary Planning and Economic Affairs at the DCP, Professor Fred Ogola, Economic and Governance Expert, Wilson Sosion, veteran teacher and unionist, and MP Nyaribari Masaba, Daniel Manduku. Thank you so much for your time at TV47. DP Kindiki, job at stake as UDA meets over ODM talks. Yes, which party is weaker than which one? In these discussions, presiding over ROGS, that's a standard, and why the US is probing this man on the front page of the Daily Nation. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Freddie Ndemuli. Good morning.